Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Ironcast. My name is Madeline Snacks.
And my name is Simon. And as Matt said, this is the Ironcast, the Ironclad Fitness podcast, where you guys come to get the no holds barred information about bodybuilding, natural and unnatural. Before we get started, just want to let you guys know that you can follow us on social media. So you can follow Maddie at Madeline Snacks Fitness on TikTok and Instagram. She also has a YouTube channel, Madeline Snacks Fitness. And you guys can get me on Instagram or TikTok at semiswole.simo. Now, this, guys, is the first episode of the podcast that we're actually doing on a screen recording. So hopefully that the Zoom recording keeps up with everything for us. But we are here joined with professional natural bodybuilder, Nic Franciscus. So, Nic, thank you so much for coming on board. Thanks for being here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi guys, thanks for having me. I am a ICN NBA PNBA pro. I've got 5 pro cards over the 3 federations. 3 for classic physique, 2 for men's physique. So there's a
Love it.
little line up there.
A bit broad. Which one did you get first? Which was the first one you got?
So my first one was the ICN men's physique pro card. We got that at the world titles or the world champs in 2018. And then I think the PNBA pro cards followed the following season.
Yeah.
Cool.
As well as the NBA one.
Yeah.
And then
nice.
the most recent one was the ICN Classic Physique Pro card. So
yeah, and that's the one you really wanted as well, hey?
That is the one that we were chasing.
That is, yeah. So, Nic, you've just competed in some shows, 3 shows recently. What were those shows? How did you do? And I think the viewers really want to know, are you happy with how you did as well?
Yeah. So this season we started at the ICN Queensland champs or the Queensland titles or state titles. We started with a class win in classic physique because this year's focus was classic physique more than it was the men's physique, because I feel like we're sort of growing out of the men's physique category and I'm really starting to find my feet and enjoy myself in classic. So we took out the class win in the amateurs and then took out an overall win to take the state titles. So for me, that was a first, and the sword came with that one, which is also something that a lot of people know about, but a lot of people don't know about. But pretty much everything started because I wanted a sword.
And we can see that sword in the background there as well.
Yeah. What have we got in the background there?
Oh, it's just a little stash of bit of gold and silver trophies. So
bit of a collection. I love it.
Nice. And then the last show you did was the NBA show as well. How did that go?
So yes, we finished the season with NBA. We did just the pro show. Being granted my NBA pro card 2 years before that, taking out their state titles during COVID. They actually approached me and asked, hey, we should have offered you your pro card on the day, but it didn't happen. So I accepted it and we went straight into the pro show at their national titles. We came away with the second. So,
that's really
one
good.
off the top. But I think the goal at the pro level, especially for a pro debut in Classic, was simply to be competitive or look professional in my mind. If I can stand on a stage with professionals and look like I belong there, then I'm always going to be happy.
Yeah. Because some people would say that because you didn't win a national title or a world title with NBA and they kind of gave you the pro card outside of a show that wasn't really deserving. But, there were how many, 6 or 7 people in that pro lineup and you came second. So you still beat 4 or 5 other pro bodybuilders. So we feel like it's definitely a deserving thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think we had a point to prove. I know a lot of people didn't really understand or accept where they kind of thought that I just got given it just for the sake, because they just wanted to try and keep me or get a bit more recognition out of that federation. So like it was a good way to get up there on stage and actually say, you know what, they may have given it to me, but they're not going to regret giving it to me. So
yeah, awesome. So
Yeah.
Nic, how do you go with all of your bodybuilding, competing? You're a dad, you're getting married soon as well. We all know that natural bodybuilders, they don't earn $100,000, $150,000 per pro show like Mr. Olympia does as well. So you've got a career as well. How do you balance all of that and bodybuilding?
The more that I think about it, it's having the people to support you around you as well.
Yeah. I also think like I should ask, like, what do you do as well?
What do I for a living?
Yeah. So what's your actual day job? Like, what do you do?
So I'm actually a commercial project manager.
Mm.
So it's nothing to do with health and
It's not
fitness,
exactly a
but
light on job. Like it would be pretty time consuming.
it's extremely time consuming, and it's very stressful on the brain. So
Yeah. It's like a high intensity job where like you'd be thinking all the time, like you'd be having to be like on the ball, like you have to be
that's
mentally
it's
aware. And I think that was like one of the biggest things that I was like chatting to you about actually at the last show. Cause like I know how draining, even just peak week can be, but like, the whole lead up, like you have months of this like brain fog, I guess you could say, like through prep. So how do you kind of manage that, like with being, onto it, like with work?
I think that, like, if we want to break it down, it's when I'm at work,
Yeah.
and like I've always got a job to do. But as soon as I'm out of work and then I'm into prep or I'm into training or in the afternoon, it's the same deal though. We got to treat them like work. Like I've also got a job to do. So
Exactly. And it's like, well, the
it's
day isn't over until I've done that and that.
yes,
Do
it's
you
almost
find
checklist things. So
Yeah.
do you find that when you're in prep, that during your work day, do you have less energy? Do you ever make mistakes at work when you're in prep, basically?
I think I was very conscious of it,
Yeah.
especially taking on a new role this year. So this made prep a little bit more challenging than the last few. The last few, the role during the day or my work life wasn't really as, like, I didn't have to be as focused as what I am now.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like it does cloud your mind. I think I
Yeah.
just learned to slow it down. So
Exactly. And it's also not the first prep you've done. You've done many, and
yeah,
it's like you knew what to expect from this one to be able to almost like do this job more effectively. Like what didn't work last time, what did work last time, and like how you could stay more like aware.
yeah, 100%. But in saying that too, like every prep for me has been different.
Yeah.
I know that I've done a few. I know I have like an idea of what to expect,
Yeah.
but it always, especially when we dive deeper and deeper into depletion,
Yeah.
there's always something different and there's always something new, which
Exactly.
is like, to me, it's kind of fascinating and it keeps me going in it. I'll be like, oh, what are we going to get this time around?
Yeah.
Like how far are we really going to bend the mind
How
and
far
push the
can we
body?
Yeah.
go?
So
Yeah, that's it.
yeah,
I've got a whole pile of questions that have come through from Instagram when I told people that you were coming
Mm.
on the show as well. And I feel like now is a really good time to ask one of those questions. And one of those
yep.
questions was, because you've done a lot of preps, right? And you were just literally talking about you've done a lot of preps. What would be your number one piece of advice to someone wanting to do their first prep?
Yeah.
Um, one foot in front of the other. I
Mm.
think, especially when someone decides that they want to compete, they're so focused on the fact that they are going to compete, and all they're thinking about is that stage day, and they
Yeah.
don't understand that it takes a million little steps to get to that
Yes.
point. And if you look too far ahead, you lose focus of what's directly in front of you.
Yeah.
So you've just got to focus on your day-to-days, focus on the 1%ers, and let them all add up. So my advice to anyone that's choosing to, one foot in front of the other. Start where you are and then just work your way forward.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think it's also like becoming like enjoying your days and starting to enjoy the little moments, because the more you focus on the stage, the more like painful it becomes almost, because like every day just seems so grueling. And it's like the days become longer, like your routine just like ends up like Groundhog Day if you aren't enjoying it. So it's like you have to keep busy or you have to enjoy it too. But
yeah. No, absolutely. And great piece of advice for people as well. Like one step in front of the other. You know, trust the process is something I hear a lot of bodybuilders say. Trust the process. So Nic, now that you're post show now, you know, you've had a week or two to kind of relax post pro debut in NBA. What's your plans now for your next show, and what do you want to achieve in your off season before your like next prep starts?
I think most people will say the same sort of answer when it comes to what you want to achieve in your off season, and that's to sort of like build my weak points, or the points that I think that I need to improve on my physique. Probably stay a little bit more accountable this off season.
Yeah.
Because we know that sometimes I can go under the radar a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think wheels, I think I really need to, or I really, really want to, well, we have focused on the wheels in the last few years. I feel like we've got into a good place, but I feel like we could also get to a great place.
Yeah.
So just stay on the steady with the legs.
Yeah.
Hopefully they hold together.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then when do you think is the next time that you're actually going to jump on stage? Because people want to know, because obviously people don't want to compete against you. So
well, I have heard that before. So some people, when are you going to compete next time? And you tell them that, okay, I'll do season A. They're like, oh, that's disheartening. But
it is what it is.
I think for the minute, the short plan, possibly next year. Probably a little congested pro shows. I mean, the shows are getting more and more limited now.
Yeah.
You're probably looking at one show per federation. So after watching the WBFF, I tell you what, that is a stage that I would love to be on.
I told you.
Wow.
I told you. We've been talking
that might
about
shock a lot of people. I think that's, you know, like we know you're a showman and you love the stage and you love the limelight, but that might shock a lot of people. Actually, that's good.
But it's definitely it's one of those shows you have to see to believe. Like,
yes.
I was like, yeah, WBFF, yeah. Went and watched the show, and I think we were literally probably in the men's pro fitness guys came out, and I think I just looked over at Simon, and he's like, "Told you." I was like, "Oh, I want to do this."
Yeah.
But yeah, I could actually see myself doing that, whether it happens next year or the year after. I'm led to believe there should be a few other Ironclad team members coming through next year.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there is indeed.
There's a huge team. Yeah, there's a huge team for next year, and your brother is in that team as well for next year. So if you did compete, that'd be pretty cool to be in the same show as your brother. Maybe a different lineup, but
that'd be so
definitely a different lineup. I don't think I'll see myself on stage next to him, but it would be good to be there.
Yeah.
Well, I think we'll make a decision after the new year. Maybe looking at the new year, we'll make a decision then.
Joint family decision with your fiance, right?
Yeah.
Oh, to be honest with you, it's more with Isaac. Like, I want him to enjoy it. I don't want to steal his limelight. You know, if it's his time to shine, then it's his time to shine. So
exactly,
I'll still be there. I'll still be there backstage. You know, I'll still be there.
Oh, look, I think you both are at such different stages too. Like, you're both celebrating something different. You know, you're celebrating like the next like chapter. You know, he's celebrating his debut, so it's going to be two complete different things, and they're both going to be just as fantastic. So
yeah.
Also, I had a question. Who is your favorite bodybuilding like pose, I guess, poser? Like, who is your favorite bodybuilding posing?
Inspiration from?
Who is your inspiration? Who's your biggest kind of inspo? Could be from any
So
federation as well.
I would say Pete Hartwig.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of Pete's stuff, and Terence Ruffin.
Yeah. So what elements like from their posing like do you love the most?
I think it's because their posing tells a tale and it's intriguing. It's
Yes.
when a person starts posing, you can't look away. You know what I mean? Like and that's when someone's doing their job well, is when you can't look away and you want more. You know what I mean? And
it's a
really
full-on
enjoyable.
performance.
So it is when people talk about posing, and then people say that posing is an art. I think that's what the art is. It's being able to express and being able to perform and show people exactly maybe a little bit of character in there as well. So it's definitely something that I need to grow into, I think, still.
Yeah.
We're still finding our feet there.
Yeah, and I think where you're headed like will allow that kind of growth as well, and to take those elements like with you, especially into the WBFF, where you get to express that kind of personality and that side that maybe like other federations you weren't able to express before.
Yeah, well, the only chance I really got to move the way that the guys like in WBFF move is doing muscle model at ICN. There's
That's
no
interesting.
really, there's not really any other categories, because we could do men's fitness.
Yeah.
But I don't think that many people would like it.
Yeah.
I'd probably look a little bit like a sore thumb, but I'd say I wouldn't do well in men's fitness.
I'm gonna have to agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can hide on stage.
Yeah. So I've got two questions for you. One kind of leads into the next, really. So I'm gonna ask you one, and then we're gonna get straight into the next one as well. I know that you get a lot of accusations around performance enhancing drugs, you know, because of the shape, not necessarily the size of you, because you are really only like, you know, 62, 61, 62 kilos when you're on stage, but more so because of the shape of your muscles, people tend to think that you are a steroid user. And I know that you have been drug tested, but there's a lot of controversy around if they're accurate, and you kind of can take drugs to hide the fact that you're using something. So I think the listeners really want to know, like, for real, have you ever taken any performance enhancing drugs? Are you a true natty?
110% true natty, lifetime natural. To the point where if people actually have conversations to me about it, I actually don't know what they're talking about. If there were more accurate tests, and like I say to most people, I would say it now, if you're willing to pay for the test, I'm willing to do it any time of the day, any day of the year.
Yeah, good. Cool. Well, with that one then, the next question is, will you ever jump on the gear and go down the IFBB route?
Okay, I'd say at my age, no.
Yeah.
Not that I haven't thought about it. I think every bodybuilder, every natural bodybuilder that's ever done it, it's always a thought, because there's always the want for more.
Yes.
You're always striving for more.
Yeah.
And then sometimes that means using peds or taking the next level up, you know. But for me, I think I'm quite happy within my realm. I think I've got a fair bit of room to grow, so for the minute it's not on the cards.
Yep.
Yeah, fantastic. Also, I had a question about posing again. Where do your moves come from? Is it like people who you've taken influence from, or have they been from like somewhere here?
Well, I think Simon knows the answer that he's influenced the posing quite a
Well,
bit. I've still got a video of my first ever session with Simon, and
do
I think
you?
the first thing we ever did was walk in the posing room, and he was like, "Shirt off, let's see some posing." And it's not pretty. It's definitely not pretty.
I
Oh, I
But
love
think
it.
what you'll have to do, Nick, is shoot me that in WhatsApp and I can load that here. So the guys, so
Yes.
everyone that's watching, if you're listening on
The
Spotify,
YouTube.
you can actually watch the video on Spotify too, or you can head over, link is in the description below to watch it on the YouTube channel. If you head over now, look at the timestamp and you can skip straight ahead and see Nick's horrendous posing from the kind of
I love it. We'll have to put it side
2018
by
era.
side with his latest show.
it did. It took a lot of work, but I think
Yeah.
we got there in the end.
Yeah.
A lot of tinkering, and yeah,
Definitely
it's
start
definitely
somewhere.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now we go all right at it. So
Yeah, sweet.
I love it.
happy with that.
Got another question in.
Actually, I have a good one.
Oh, here we go.
Do you have like a dancing background or something like that? Like, honestly, tell us, like we see you do these cool moves up on stage and it honestly just flows. Like when I watch you, it is that performance that you were talking about. So, yeah, tell us your secrets. Like, is it just a bunch of practice? Is it just genetics kind of thing? Like, I think, maybe it could be an element of that. I don't know. Maybe it's in your blood to be able to move well, but tell us, like, do you have, that dance kind of background?
I definitely don't have a dance background, but I think that genetics allows me the ability to actually dance and move freely.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
sometimes what you see on stage is off the cuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's purely finding my groove on stage, especially with
Yes.
whatever music's playing, and just letting it go a little bit and
Yeah.
doing my thing on stage, so to speak. Yeah.
And you would have practiced that over and over and over. Like you've got these pro cards, you've got the practice on stage, you've got like the stage presence now that you have like worked on. You can't just go as people who have like never competed or competed only for the first time will know that like you need to compete that first time to be able to know what to improve on. Like you can't just go from like zero to hero. So it's like all these little things that have built up to like where you are now. So I think that's so important.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Where we all start somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Definitely we do. Yeah, definitely do. My posing started. I didn't have my first show here in Australia until 2017.
Didn't you?
Yeah, it was my first show in Australia. I did do a little show in the UK that not many people know about. And
I didn't even know this.
no one's ever going to know about that one. We won't talk about that one. But I actually started posing here in Australia in 2015, and I did 2 years of posing before I got on stage because I knew that I wasn't going to be the biggest guy. So I knew that I had to be one, the leanest, and two, the best poser.
I think I started early too because I knew I had to be big. I was like, how do I pose big? Like, yeah, you just start practicing.
So I have one more question for you. It's pretty much the last question that came in for us. They want to know, how long have you been a bodybuilder for? And did you always know that it was something you wanted to do?
All right. When do you determine that you are a bodybuilder? Is my throwback question. When was the point that I decided that I was a bodybuilder? I'd say probably we've been doing this for about 4 years now at a professional level. I'd say 4 years. Was it something that I was ever interested in? To be honest, I kind of fell into this sport by accident.
Yeah.
I was my first ever competition I did. I was approached by a PT at the gym. He said, "Why don't you try this?" We tried it. Came away with a win, but ended that season. I don't know if we could say poorly, but I didn't have the drive to do it anymore. Sort of, I just did it for a fun thing. But it was always in the back of my mind, thinking, "You can do better. You can do better. You could do better."
Yeah. And you just kept training from there and seeing like your body change?
Well, yeah, we one thing that's always sort of remained consistent with me is just the gym and actual training. So I'm never really too far out of shape.
Yeah.
But I think the gym for me is more of a mental sort of thing, especially in the off season, and it's a bit of stress relief. And
Absolutely.
I don't know, I'd go a little bit kooky if I didn't do it, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think it's important to remember as well for the listeners that Nic does have like a barrage of injuries. Like there's a back injury, isn't there? Like, he's like
great times to manage around.
Yeah, and no ACLs.
Yeah.
So
don't need them.
Yeah, don't need them. So it's important, like, so the listeners can understand that you don't have to be the perfect model of human health. There can be injuries, there can be things, and you can still do well in a chosen sport.
Exactly, because it is ultimately the way you look up on stage. It's not like, does he have a functioning great knee? Like it's nothing like that.
No one's actually asked me. I'm marked down for not having an ACL.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, that's it. Like, yeah.
So, Nic, those are all the questions we've got. We've got heaps of information from you today. So we're just going to wrap it up here. I want to thank you again so much for jumping on board. I've noticed you wear an Anabolics t-shirt there. Did you want to give is that something important, that one?
Yeah, shout out to the newest sponsor. I only landed them throughout this prep, but Anabolics.
Amazing.
Thanks for backing me up.
Do you have a discount code for them as well?
No, I don't. They just send me free stuff.
They just send you free stuff, but you like their stuff, so we'll make sure that
I do like their stuff.
Yeah, we'll make sure there's a link in the description there so people can have a look at the supplements you take. What would be like your one kind of supplement from an Anabolics range that you're like, people need this in their gym bag?
There's always like one that we use every day that we like.
So I really like their proteins, and at the moment their Primal Whey has been a steady in over the last 6 months. Like even before they jumped on board, or I jumped on board with them, I was always using Anabolics Primal Whey.
Amazing.
It's just, I don't know. At my age, I've got to be picky, and it just doesn't disrupt my gut. And it's very, very easy to drink.
Yeah, and it's
very
cool.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Where can they find your Instagram? What's your Instagram handle, Nic?
My Instagram handle now is just Nic Franciscus _. Pretty plain and simple, NIC, and you'll find the rest. But
perfect.
That's all it says now. I changed it from having all different federations on there because it's a bit much.
Yeah, literally, it'll get a bit much now. Yeah. Too
like
many.
Nic Franciscus _ the alphabet.
I know.
It looks like that.
Yeah, it actually did for a while. I was like, wow, this is getting intense, but okay. That seems really cool, Nic. And you have such a really cool future ahead of you, like in the next few years too. So obviously, anyone who listens to this or watches this can go and track your journey over on your Instagram and see you thrive into the future. So
yeah, and again,
fantastic.
Absolutely. And again, all the links for everything, mine, Maddie's, and Nic's social media pages are all in the description of the YouTube video and all in the description of the Spotify description of the podcast as well. So you can follow anyone you like. Hopefully me and Mads and Nic as well, all of us.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening. We do have another episode coming. We'll be loading one episode every kind of week, every Monday. And the next episode after this one, we will be talking about the steroid culture in the fitness industry. That's
going to be saucy.
Yeah, so if that's something you guys want to listen to and kind of find out, not necessarily what to take, because we're not going to talk about that, but how rampant the use is in the fitness industry here in Australia as well. We'll be talking about that. So
I can't wait for that one. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. And we will see you back here for the next podcast. Thanks, Nic.